Hi, hello. Listen for a moment to the ambiance of my apartment. You will hear a fan. You will hear an ice maker. You will hear all the things because I cannot regulate my body temperature, but I am also a moron who does not want to turn on the AC right now. It is almost 90 degrees here. It is the end of February. It's almost 90 degrees here in Phoenix, and I'm feeling like Alicia Keys wrote, "This girl is on fire," about me, because I feel like I am on fire at the moment, yet I had to get snow boots, and I had to get gloves, and I'm making a nice thick scarf and a nice thick hat for myself. We'll see if I finish it in time. Why? Because I'm going to the Seeing Eye. I'm going back to the Seeing Eye on Monday. This is what, Thursday now? So on Monday, I leave for the Seeing Eye to go get 2.0, and oh boy, do I have thoughts. Various pictures of baked goods and the braille text of the words "My Blind Kitchen" appear on the screen. Come to you from the future. I know that my channel name is no longer My Blind Kitchen, but that intro took me so stinking long to make. And I am so proud of it, like, in a way that maybe I shouldn't be, but like, you know, when something's kind of accessible, but also mostly not, but also just accessible enough that you can use it, those are the feelings that I have toward iMovie. And that intro took me so long to make, and I think I've only ever run it once. So for now, that's gonna be intro material. It's here to stay until I guess I get disenchanted with it. I don't know. But yeah, that's what we're using for intro material these days. I know that's not my channel name anymore. That was my channel name at one time, but it is no longer. I just really like that intro. Okay, anyway, off my soapbox, back to me from the past and whatever I said. I also feel from having thoughts about New Jersey being cold, because it's supposed to snow like every single day. At least for the first week that I'm there. Aside from like having thoughts about that and being a little nervous because I know how to walk on snow, but it's definitely been a minute. Aside from like worrying about being cold, my feelings are pretty similar to how they were in 2018 when I went to the Seeing Eye for the first time. I know I was still 17, and so I was living at home. I was still in high school. Ice maker is about to make ice. There it goes. Anyways, I was worried about mostly like stuff that my siblings would do, stuff that people at my high school would do. Would I have enough work for the dog because I was in school? And, you know, like that was the type of stuff that I was nervous about. I am a completely different person now than I was in 2018. My situation is completely different than it was in 2018. And so the things that I'm nervous about are different. I'm still really nervous. I'm also still really excited. It's different though, because it's not like first dog excitement. You know, it's second dog excitement. And in 2018 it was like, oh my god, I've never done this before. Yay, I'm so excited. And now it's like, I've done this before. Let the new chapter begin. Let the new era start. So the things that I'm nervous about. Today, I found out that I got a job offer. So I will be teaching Braille at one of the local centers for the blind here in Phoenix. And I'm super excited. They're gonna wait until I come back from the Seeing Eye to have me start. So I will come back and then we'll have a weekend and then I'll start that job and it'll be great. But the thing that I'm nervous for is all the change for me. 2.0 is not gonna know anything different, but I sure am, you know. I'm gonna know that like, this is not normal. This was never, you know, this is my new normal, but this wasn't normal before. So I'm just nervous about like taking on all that change, and I know I can handle it. It would be a very different situation right now if this was my first dog. But I know that I can navigate things a little bit better because it's my second. So I just worry about all that change all at once. And also jet lag. because daylight savings is supposed to start while I'm in guide dog school. Does the universe hate me? I think it does. So I'm nervous about just all the change all at once. I'm also really nervous about the first moment that it hits me that 2.0 is not Hen. Hennig was my first dog, and she and I worked together for a little bit over 7 years. And so we knew each other pretty well, and we were a team. We were a bonded pair. And so I'm nervous for the moment that I, get on the floor with 2.0 and go, your coat does not feel right. Go change your coat. Or you were supposed to bathe in hen soap. You don't smell right. Or you're not distracted by that dog. Wow, Hen would have gotten distracted by that dog. Or, you don't know how to find the light at the intersection the way Hen did, because I clicker trained her and taught her. So I'm just nervous for that first moment of, wow, you're not Hen. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of them, and I'm sure that it's going to happen. But I am scared that the first one is going to be hard, and I'm just scared of the grief. Like, I'm just bracing for the impact, and so I'm really nervous. I've always heard the second dog is the hardest, and I don't doubt that, but I'm nervous for that for sure. So I think the next thought on my mind is the weather a little bit, because it's already brutal here in Phoenix. It's already 90 degrees, like I said. And 2.0 is going to come back with this big winter coat. We're going to take it slow. We're going to do most of our being out and about in the mornings, and we're going to gradually acclimate to the temperature. I already have a plan for this. I also already know the Seeing Eye generally gives us shoes, but there's a brand that I like better. I also know that as soon as I get 2.0 and I know that that's the dog I'm leaving with, I'm gonna need to get those shoes. So I have a plan, okay? But I am not ready, I think, to, both for me, who can't regulate my body temperature, and for 2.0, I'm not ready to go from snowing to we might have to check the weather because we might have to put shoes on because it's too hot. I'm just nervous for that adjustment for mostly 2.0. I mean, I've lived in Phoenix long enough I can handle it, but 2.0 is going to need to adjust for sure. I am also really excited though. There's a lot to be nervous about, but I'm also super duper excited because I have not had a guide really for a long time, probably about a year and some change. And I say that because Hen technically retired 6 months ago, but at the end of our partnership, she was not able to make any of the decisions. She was really hesitant to do anything. I would say forward and she would just stand there what do you want me to do? She would walk laps. This girl was the same dog who we went to a restaurant and she had been there 6 months earlier and tried to put herself under the same chair that she had been in 6 months earlier. So, she had an impeccable memory. And so at the end, it was a real concern for me when she started walking laps around buildings, and around buildings that we'd been to all the time. There was no real reason for her to not know where she was going, but she would just walk in circles. There were times where she would stop and just stand there looking lost. She would just kind of stare off into space, wagging her tail I'm so cute. And she couldn't hear me call her name. She, would only react again if I would pet her. And there was a lot. I plan on eventually making a video about how everything shook out with Hen. But at the end, I was making a lot of the decisions, and I was also making a lot of concessions and accommodations to my lifestyle to affect her, to benefit her, to accommodate her. And that's not the way it should be. We have a saying throughout the service dog community that the service dog is an accommodation for us. We should not be an accommodation for the service dog, and that is 100% true. But because I really wanted to keep Hennig working for as long as I could, I made accommodations for her. You know, times that I would have taken the bus, I didn't. We stopped doing as much because she couldn't do as much physically, and because it just wasn't safe to do as much. So I'm really excited and honestly a little bit nervous because I think it's gonna be like the whole world opening wide. But I'm really excited to have a guide who can take the driver's seat, to have the experience. I have been talking throughout all this with a good mentor of mine who's also a Seeing Eye grad. And, you know, he said something when I was talking to him about the possibility of retiring Hen that has really stuck with me. Traveling with a guide dog is like traveling on autopilot. You know, you don't have to make as many decisions to think about how you're getting there, what you're doing to get there. And I want that again. I want that feeling of like, yeah, I just kind of pick up and go. And I am so excited to work with a confident dog, to work with a dog who can hear. I suspect at the end that Hennig was losing hearing. Vets don't test that in general practice, BT dubs. So I don't actually know that she was losing hearing, but all the signs point to, yeah, she was losing hearing. So it'll be incredible to have a dog that can hear and that is confident and that makes their own decisions and that keeps me actually safe and that can go places fast with me. So just like in 2018, I don't know anything about this dog. They don't tell us anything. They told me when they called me into class that my dog walks a little bit faster than average, which is exciting because, you know, I run late. So I don't know anything about this dog, and I'm not going to until next week. And even so, you know, I'm still going to keep referring to the dog as 2.0 for a little bit, just for my own self, because and I'll talk about it more when I get to the Seeing Eye again. But sometimes the dog you get matched with is not the dog you go home with. So, you know, all the good things. But if you want to learn about 2.0, if you want to come with me on this journey, I'm expecting any day a box of stuff from Chewy. I'm going to make 2.0 a small care package of stuff to take to class. So if you want to see what I'm bringing to class for 2.0, what I'm preparing to have at home for 2.0, and if you want to follow along with my process of being at the Seeing Eye, getting 2.0, all of the things like watching our relationship, please follow along. Please have friends follow along. You know, it's a great time. I don't post a lot, but I dang sure like to post a lot when I'm at the Seeing Eye. So, you know, it's a once in 8 to 10 years opportunity. So come along and enjoy the ride. And I am so excited for this next chapter, and I'm hoping that all of you will join me on it and we can go through it together. All right, see you later. Bye.